So I'm going to go through 5 projects here in this video, 4 on Kickstarter and 1 exclusively on Backerkit, which each have a really weird reward or stretch goal included in it. But if I just went to each project and hit on the weird thing, this video would be over in 90 seconds. So actually I'm going to explain each project and then reveal the weird thing at the end of each segment. The fact is, I think each of these projects is really cool and worth backing, and I'm backing almost all of them personally. The weird aspects of them aren't meant as an attack on the project or their creators, but the stuff is kind of weird. Also, none of the coverage in this video is sponsored, and if and when I do sponsored content, I'll make that clear up front. Okay, here we go. Apocalypse Keys is a Powered by the Apocalypse game created by Ray and Johnny and being published by Evil Hat Games, which is best known for publishing John Harper's Blades in the Dark. This game came up on my radar maybe 2 years ago on Twitter, back when it was being sold on itch.io as a sort of playtest beta. It was getting a lot of attention for generating really fun play sessions, and Evil Hat officially adopted it as part of their product line. One of the main media touchstones of the game is Hellboy, wherein supernatural agents investigate a mystery in an action setting, ultimately in order to save the world from an apocalypse. But this game also incorporates a very strong personal, emotional element where your PC needs to either reveal your heart or embrace darkness. The Kickstarter page doesn't go into too much detail on the moves of this game, but it's clearly stated that the central theme of the game is, quote, profound emotional longing. Anyway, the rewards start off with a PDF plus print-on-demand edition. This is a bit unusual since usually the lowest tier of an RPG Kickstarter is just the PDF. But the creators here are offering immediate access to the prototype PDF of the game upon backing, so that's pretty nice. The next couple of reward tiers include an offset print of the game in 6x9-inch hardback format, or the Roll20 bundle. Then there's the deluxe matte black version of the book with maybe some UV spot treatment on the cover there. And finally, in the Omen class bundle, the black book, playbook folios, tearaway mystery map pad for tracking a party's progress. And okay, here's the thing that I thought was weird. At the $175 level, you're also sent a 1GB Apocalypse Key USB drive preloaded with the PDF of the game. I mean, I get the joke. It's a pun. Apocalypse Key, USB key, and they will stylize it into the shape of a key, but honestly, I don't know. There's enough e-waste in the world right now, isn't there? Maybe the drive could have been more than 1GB so that it could be used for other things. Or maybe it could have been a 3D printable prop key that could actually be used at the table. This is one of those rewards that really makes me scratch my head because it doesn't integrate into gameplay in any way unless you force it, and yet resources will be spent manufacturing, packaging, and shipping these to backers. Weird. But yeah, Apocalypse Keys as a game looks great. The campaign ends October 11th, 2022, and I'm guessing there will be a period of late pledging after that. The Librarians Enchanted Tome is a collection of 3D printable deck and dice boxes that are shaped like little magic tomes. They have interchangeable interiors as well as modular external elements like the spine and emblems. On a personal note, I've been 3D printing for years now, but only recently upgraded my home machine to something that is insanely reliable and prints at high resolution at high speeds. Which means when I look at RPG utilities like these, I know that I can produce them at a high quality at home for cheap. I'm guessing that it would probably take $5 to $7 in filament to print one of these tomes, and it would just be a nice way to store and transport cards, dice, and minis. Here's the weird thing though. The creators have included as a stretch goal a business card holder and calendar. I guess the calendar is kind of neat, although a bit of a hassle because you have to swap out the numbers every day. And let's face it, you'll probably just give up futzing around with this thing after a while. But the business card holder had me kind of mystified. I couldn't picture an office setting where this would look acceptable in a professional setting, I mean. But honestly, that's the best part about 3D printing. You just end up with a huge collection of models like these and you just print what you want and don't print what you don't need. And if you ever find a friend or a colleague who might use a thing, like a World of Warcraft style gnome inventors calendar and business card holder, you can just print it for them. I'm definitely backing this particular project if you can't already tell. It ends on Kickstarter on September 30th, 2022. The Monster Overhaul is a bestiary and GM toolkit composed of artwork and concepts from a variety of artists, many of whom are known in OSR circles. Don't be surprised if you eventually see this one show up on Ben Milton's Questing Beast channel. This is like the Ben Miltonist book imaginable. I think slapping the OSR label on a book like this kind of limits it in a way, because a lot of the content can be applied to non-OSR games as well. For example, this could easily be used in a 5e game as long as you're half decent at porting stat blocks. I think the conciseness is just so appealing. Here's an example of where the information in a normal book might take 4 or 5 spreads accompanied with boring text walls to communicate to you, but in this case would take a single page. Okay, so this is a very utilitarian book, but here's the weird part. I'm not sure what's going on with the chapter names here, if they're trying to be artsy and different, or if this is a series of typos. It appears that the chapters have a random number in them and a second colon. But yeah, generally speaking, it's books like these that draw me to the OSR movement the most. I don't think there is any corner of the RPG world where the creators are more concerned about delivering unique substance and cutting out fluff. I'm not saying that all OSR is this great, but the Monster Overhaul is a shining example of the best that OSR can be right now. This project ends on Kickstarter on October 11th, 2022. So despite this video's title referring to Kickstarter, this project, The Weird, by Monte Cook Games, is crowdfunding exclusively on Backerkit. The idea behind this book is that it's supposed to provide GMs with random and unusual elements to spice up an encounter or an area or things like that. All the NPCs, plot hooks, gear, spells, everything is listed by level of weirdness, so you can modulate that aspect when browsing or rolling on a table. Circling back to OSR for a second, I think that creators like Louie Rejek of Ultraviolet Grasslands fame and Daniel Sells, the creator of Troika, as well as many others in that space, have already charted this weirdness realm and done it with very memorable style. But one thing they don't have is Monte Cook's mailing list and his loyal following, who may be getting exposed to true weirdness for the first time with this project. When I was reading through this project, I was really hoping that there would be something weird in the rewards. And sure enough, one of the add-ons is bouncy silicon dice. I'm actually surprised I haven't seen more silicon dice out in the wild, because the bounciness seems like a lot of fun. And they're less likely to leave a mark on a player's head when you chuck it at them. This project ends on October 7th, 2022. Desi Quest is an actual play of D&D with a cast that is entirely of South Asian heritage and descent, with Jasmine Bular as the GM. This is a really interesting concept that's doing what I think a lot of people hope the hobby will do, which is actively and meaningfully branch out and embrace more aspects of the human race. It's being led by Sandeep Parish, who you might recognize from The Guild and Community and half a dozen other shows, and generally just brings a lot of talent to something that by all accounts will be a high-value professional production. I understand that they have to play D&D for marketing purposes, but the hope is that the director and the cast are able to really inject Indian culture and sensibilities into their actual play somehow. It would be cool to learn about Indian culture in some way by watching them. The reward tiers are pretty crazy. At the start here, it's $11 for simple membership to the project, which includes the soundtrack, exclusive updates, and a Discord role badge. Then for $25, you get a PDF guide to the DesiQuest world on top of everything else. Then at $51, you get access to a watch party, which I'm pretty sure is just online, but at $101, you get your name in the credits. At $251, you get a library of recordings that you can use for your voicemail, greetings, and ringtones, which is, I guess, unique. At $501, you get a personalized video from one of the cast or crew, like a happy birthday message or something like that. Oh, by the way, there's a whole website for stuff like this called cameo.com. It's crazy. Anyway, at about $1,000, you get an online one-on-one for 30 minutes with any of the named cast or crew. This is where things get a little strange to me. $1,000 is a lot of money for 30 minutes. I mean, at least for me personally. But it gets even crazier. At $3,500, you don't get the one-on-one with anyone, but you do get an associate producer credit and a special role badge on their Discord server. Then at $5,000, you get named as a sponsor for a single episode, or for that same price, you get to visit the set and name a PC in the actual play and get an associate producer credit. As for the visit, you have to provide your own transportation and hotel and all that. But there's more. At the $9,999 level, which at the time of this recording is about 795,000 Indian rupees, just in case you needed that currency conversion, you get an executive producer credit and a visit to the set in real life. Or for that same price, you get to be the featured sponsor for, quote, the most memorable moments of the show. And you work with them to develop something that works with your brand, because everyone has a brand, right? Anyway, I think these reward tiers are completely bonkers, and I'm super curious to see if anyone takes them up on the higher ones. As for the actual play itself, it's honestly one I'm looking forward to watching. This project ends on October 13th, 2022. Anyway, that's all for now. Let me know in the comments if you've backed any of these projects and what you're most excited about. And if you're excited enough to want to promote these projects, please consider sharing this video. I've left links for everything below. Thanks for watching. See ya.